Coach's Corner is presented by Roanoke Valley Harley-Davidson. Stop by their store on Peters Creek Road for new and used motorcycles, service and repair, along with Harley-Davidson clothing and collectibles.
Hello and welcome in to another episode of Coach's Corner. I'm Mitch, Stewart, and this morning I'm joined by Dawgs head coach Dan Bremner. Dan, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks, Mitch.
You get your second weekend out of the last three where you get the 3-city and 3-day trip, and we talked a bit about it a couple weeks ago, how difficult it is to get all 6 of those points. We see those challenges on display this weekend. You guys get just 1 out of a possible 6 with the games against Peoria, Macon, and then Birmingham.
Yeah.
Once you got home and had a chance to reflect on the weekend, what were some of your takeaways on those 3 games that you guys played last week?
First with every team's going through it right now, and body issues and call-ups and injuries and just depleted. So we're we're no different. We're in the same boat. We got guys that are playing through sickness as well. A few guys, they're puking and sweating and not sleeping, and it's kind of gross right now for our lineup. But we went in the weekend, understanding where our lineup was, and we're always going to push for all our points. But as far as what was expected coming out, we knew it was going to be a tough hill to climb. What was promising out of it was, at times we outplayed some really, really good teams. And Peoria, other than a disastrous first power play, we played a pretty good game. They dominated some shift. Their puck possession in the offensive zone is something that I think every team should strive towards. But we had our chances, and we just didn't capitalize when we could. The disappointing one was really Macon on Friday, and you sympathize with the travel and going there, traveling overnight, not getting a hotel till the 2 p.m. check-in for a quick nap. It makes it tougher for sure, but again, that game was very much in our hands if we wanted it, and that game we just failed to execute. We had opportunities, and we just didn't quite have the jam. It's one of those games you look at after, and we went through video, where it just seems like nobody really wanted the puck. They didn't want to be the man to go out and execute. And we talked about it going into Birmingham, and actually our response in the Birmingham game was really solid. I thought we dominated the first bit of the first period, and then a little bit of penalty trouble. We killed them off, and our guys, they took momentum from it though, and they kind of peppered us there towards the end of the first. But regrouping, coming out for the second and third, statistically through that game, we dominated a lot of categories, and a little bit of puck luck here and there, and a bit of a blunder on their fourth goal. I think Rhodey's due to have the grace on one of those every now and then for the way he's been playing for us. But it was a tough time, and it culminated in a really tough weekend. 1 out of 6 points, obviously something that we don't want to see. But there's some promise coming out of that weekend with the group and the way they competed.
I think it's important to remember, too, we've talked about the grind of a 56-game regular season and the ups and downs that come with it. You guys have just won 14 out of 17 games before you hit this little skid where now you've dropped your last 4, all in kind of close games. When you kind of go through these up and down stretches where you go from one of the hottest teams in the league to kind of struggling here for the past couple of weekends to just find the results at least, what is your messaging like to the group when you're down here with them during the week and before a game, trying to kind of get them back on track?
Luckily we got a great core and guys that have been around a number of years, so the message is always the same: try to keep it even keel, and I think those guys do a great job through that. We enjoy the wins, of course, but pretty even. We got some guys in there that are very mellowed out, and as far as their personality, and it shows in their game too, and their compete level always being the same. Like you said, yeah, it's 4 in a row. Very, very close games all the way around, and when we were winning that much, they were still close games. So I think we're playing very, very leveled hockey. Obviously, with personnel changes and stuff, there's something to be desired still out there, and we'll continue to work to fix that problem. But with the group, new guys we put in, our core does a great job of getting them on the same page really quickly.
Commitment on the defensive end has always kind of been one of the pillars of your teams over the past few seasons here with the Rail Yard Dawgs. In your first 27 games, you only allow teams to get to that 3-goal mark 11 times. Now it's happened in 8 out of the last 9 for you guys. Is there kind of something that you can point at to maybe attribute that to, or is it something where kind of with these moving pieces, you guys are just kind of trying to work through it right now?
Not to give excuses, and we talk all the time in the room. The excuses in there are great, but nobody cares in the outside world. And I got to say, just depleted. With lineup and even more than that, the guys that have been here and have been staples for us. our D that are logging that 20, normally should be around that 23, 24 minute mark. They're getting cranked up to that 28, 29, 30 plus mark, and you can start to see the fatigue wear on them. So, we're adjusting practices so our guys are a little bit fresher heading into the weekend. But yeah, just a little bit of depleted energy on the back end. But, coming up with 4 home games in a row now, 2 weekends in a row, no travel at all, I think is a refreshing take for our guys, and you can feel the energy a little bit this week.
You've talked a bit about the turnover throughout this episode with ECHL call-ups and injuries and everything else that can factor in for a roster throughout the season. And your 2 most recent newcomers to the team, Sava Smirnov and Hunter Hall, they kind of got thrown right to the fire this past weekend. Not a whole lot of practice time under them, but they both end up contributing. Hunter Hall gets 1 goal and an assist on the weekend in 3 games. Sava Smirnov ends up with 1 assist on the weekend, but he looked really confident in all 3 games for you guys moving forward. What did you kind of think of their play this past weekend, and how did they maybe factor in long-term as far as trying to find a role here in these next few weeks with the Dawgs?
As far as factoring in long-term, they should be focused on 1 game, 1 practice at a time. They're gonna have to work to steal a job, and I think they know that, both of them. Hunter fits a role, big body. He for a bigger body, pretty quick up and down the ice. We're going to continue to look for him to have a physical presence, and I've been telling him where he did get rewarded is where he's going to find his success, going to the net and picking up that garbage. Has a good skill level, but he's got to be a hard-nosed guy and go to the net if he wants to continue thriving here. Sava on the other side, we see a ton of outside. There's a lot we like about his game without even initiating or telling him that we need to see that. He loves to take the puck to the net for a smaller frame of a guy. He goes to contact consistently on the defensive side and on the offensive side. He goes to where those hard-nosed areas are, but he does a great job protecting the puck. And, his assist that he got was a good heads-up play, finding time and space and then dishing to the open area. So he's got great hockey IQ, and I think he's got a pretty high ceiling. So we're going to look to continue to push him towards it.
Back at home here for these next 4 games for the Rail Yard Dawgs. It starts this weekend with Macon and Knoxville. Those are 2 teams that have struggled throughout this season, but Macon just picked up the win against you guys this past Friday, and it feels like Knoxville, it's always either a really tough game or a really chippy game. What are you expecting from your team this weekend? How do you guys find the formula to get some good results here at home?
We've been saying the word and talking about it a lot is execution. We're in these games, and even when we're losing, we're looking at the statistical numbers after, and there's a lot of ways that we're dominating the game, but we have to find ways to finish. We have to find ways to execute when we get that opportunity on a 2-on-1, when we get that opportunity on a breakaway or whatever it may be. And then, you said it too, locking down the defensive side too. That's our structure, that's our game. We got to make sure that we're bought into blocking shots, the fundamentals. Energy is a big thing too. Like I said, you can feel it this week with our group. Just being home for these number of days is nice. It's been a long stretch of travel for us. So I know the guys are looking forward to the home cooking this weekend.
Well, Dan, best of luck to y'all this weekend.
Thanks, Mitch.
That's going to do it for this episode of Coach's Corner. The Rail Yard Dawgs back home starting Friday night against Macon, and then Saturday it's Superhero Night, sponsored by Whistler, against the Knoxville Ice Bears. We hope to see you there. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great rest of your day.